Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at the Hellstorm Missile Launcher mod, which is being made by user DonSky62. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is a recreation of the Hellstorm Missile Launcher from Fallout 76, which from its design appears to be based off the real-world M202 Flash missile launcher that was used by the US back in, like, Vietnam and I think up until the 80s. I'm not 100% sure on that, though, but still a fun new missile launcher for us to enjoy, which is great. So let's jump on over here and have a look at what exactly we are getting with the Hellstorm Missile Launcher, which in its most standard and basic configuration will do 140 damage using a standard missile with a firing rate of 16, range of 203, accuracy of 62 for a fairly hefty weight of 13.6. Not too surprising there for a big old missile launcher. And as you can see, this thing is pretty darn good looking. I did have to go and look at some pictures of the Hellstorm from 76 as I never encountered it in the short time I played that game, but it certainly does look good. I do like all the little details, etc. on it. It is a good-looking weapon that certainly looks the part for a multi-barreled missile launcher. Good times. And the stats are pretty decent on it, too. I was kind of honestly expecting a bit more damage out of it, considering missile launcher, but it's not too bad, and with modifications, you can add some more damage in there, and even change up some of the damage types. As for the modifications, it is a fairly short list, but what are you really expecting out of a missile launcher? You're not going to be able to change it up into too many other things besides, you know, a missile launcher, but enough here to change up the aesthetic a bit, make it more powerful, and give it a bit more functionality, which is always useful. Now, as for how you do get your hands on one of these lovely things, well, first and foremost, it will be added into the leveled loot list and spawn on Brotherhood of Steel soldiers as well as super mutants after the quest reunions, not before, though there are 3 set locations in the world where you can find one of these lovely things. But other than that, you are going to have to wait until after that reunions quest. Now, as for the modifications we do have on this thing, let's jump on in. And the first is our payload section here, where you can change up the damage type here, which is quite nice. We got the standard, a napalm, which is magnificent. Same amount of damage, but of course, you know, lights everything on fire. It's pretty fun. A cryo payload, a plasma payload, which is what's going to give you the most damage with this thing, and an extended payload if you do just want to be able to fire more rockets. Always fun there. Now in the sights category, we've got the standard iron sights, a reflex sight, a slightly magnified scope, as well as night vision and recon. Normally I'd complain about not having enough sights in here, but it is a missile launcher. I don't know exactly how many sights you would need, but I'd say this is a pretty good list for functionality. Now next is the muzzle category, which is kind of strange, but we do have in here a blast shield, which makes sense, and a bayonet, which I find hilarious because this is just tiny little spike on the front of a missile launcher. It amuses me. I like it, but hey, better bash. There you go. And the blast shield is, you know, nice. It'll reduce damage from explosions when the weapon is drawn, so that is handy if you do launch right in your face. And then finally, we have an aesthetics category that will add on an emblem to the back of this thing. Now, as you can see here, we only have 3 options currently. We've got the military, Brotherhood of Steel, and a no emblem option. But you'll start unlocking additional emblems here as you join factions, which is pretty cool. So you'll have some other things in here you can join, or well, that you can put on here once you have joined them. There we go, that's the right way to say it. But personally, I kind of just like the military logo here. I think it's pretty nice looking on there. Well, yes, once you are a part of some other factions, you'll have some more things available, which is lovely. Now let's go take a look at this thing in action, and also go ahead and grab my 2 modified versions here. I did make a Recon Plasma one right here with the teeny tiny little spike. And then also did make a wonderful napalm one, which I think is my favorite. It's, even though it's not as powerful as the plasma, it's just fun lighting everything on fire. So let's take a look at the standard though, and take some shots. And there we go, 4 shots fired, a good solid reload animation there, and a useful iron sight. Normally I complain about iron sights on a lot of guns because I don't find them very useful, but this is a perfectly acceptable iron sight that I have no issue with. Honestly, I actually think I kind of like this more than the recon sight that comes with this one, which is unusual. It's usually the other way around for me. But yes, it's just a nice little rocket launcher for you to enjoy. I was kind of hoping it might fire a little bit more quickly, as it is a bit slow, but you know what, it's not too bad, and you'll certainly be able to launch plenty of missiles down at your enemies. Now let's take a look at the 2 that I did modify, first being this recon one with the plasma. As you can see, it changes up the box up here where the missiles go into, depending on which kind you did select. And if we actually look at, say, like the napalm one here, I do quite like that. It adds a different aesthetic feel to the whole thing, and, you know, makes it a bit easier to see which damage is which, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I actually quite like that feature, and you can see on the plasma one, it also added a bit of a change to the bottom here. Also cool. So let's fire that one, and you can see it's basically still acting like a missile, even giving the same kerchunk sound as you do launch them down, but it's just a big old bolt of plasma that explodes like a plasma grenade. Very good. And of course, there is the recon scope, you know, pretty typical for any recon scope in the game, if you do need to launch your missiles a little bit further, or plasma rockets maybe, that might be a better way. But still, my favorite is the one with napalm, because it also makes sense since this is kind of based off of the M202. If I'm remembering right, wasn't that like all about incendiary missiles? I could be wrong on that. It's been ages since I looked into anything about that weapon. But yes, a very cool gun here. Well, missile launcher, not exactly gun. I actually really do like the blast shield. It adds a cool little feel. And that is also the recon scope there. Not too bad, but yeah, I honestly do think I may prefer the iron sights on this one, which is unusual for me. But let's launch. And there we go. Everything has been set ablaze. You're basically launching a small explosive Molotov, doing 140 damage, which isn't too bad, and then of course all the secondary fire, which is just fun. I do really like that. So let's see this thing in practice and grab ourselves a Deathclaw, because, I mean, of course, and light that sucker on fire. Oh god, I love it. Alright, and eat this, Deathclaw! Well, oh god, he got kind of punched away a bit from that. But yeah, he's already down pretty good and been lit on fire, which is magnificent. So let's go ahead and grab out the plasma one to finish him off, and of course, mark him. Yay for recon! Oh, he moved! How dare you move away from my slow little plasma missiles. That should actually kill him there. It did not. It did not. Alright, well, he's almost dead. Back to the fire, because again, I just love that. Die, Deathclaw! Yes! Yes! Be roasted. Magnificent. I really do like this missile launcher. I've been having a lot more fun with this missile launcher than the standard in-game one. I especially do love this napalm one, but, you know, the other different options you do have for your payload are cool too, especially the plasma one. It is pretty neat being able to fire little plasma grenade rockets. It's just an entertaining time, and will, of course, do the most amount of damage you're gonna get out of this particular weapon at just shy of 300 with the 2 different types there. But yeah, all in all, it's just a fun new weapon to play with, and I think a great addition into the game, and, well, of course, does fit in with Fallout lore, being a part of Fallout 76, and as a based off of a real-world weapon of the M202, It's one of those weapons that seems Fallout-esque, so I'm even more for it. So if you'd like to check this mod out for yourself, which I'd certainly recommend you go and do, you have a look at the link in the description of the video as per usual. That's going to be it for today. Hopefully you all have enjoyed, and you do come back for the next with whatever mod we'll be looking at. But until that time, thank you for watching as always. Y'all have a good one.